It's time for Pucknology. Pucknology. After dark. Oh my.
Oh my, do we actually know if a puck has completely gone backwards? We will discuss that tonight on this episode of Pucknology After Dark. Oh my goodness. Welcome to this edition of Pucknology After Dark. I am PuckGuy14, joined by my constituents, which you will see very shortly. If you want to be a part of the show, use the hashtag Pucknology After Dark and ask questions or comment. You can also follow us on Twitter at Pucknology, at PuckGuy14, at AJ_Strong, at ChrisJWS, at IReadPucknology. Also, if you're on the YouTube page, you can also join the chat with us as well. We'll be taking questions from everywhere and anywhere later on tonight. With us tonight, as always, the lovely and talented AJ Strong.
I hate everything and everyone. I'm pissed off.
Oh, we got some saltiness coming on, along from a very dark Canada, Ian Reed.
Yeah, we lost the sun for the rest of the year here, so it's just forever dark.
and super duper producer director himself, Chris JWS.
I hate you all. I hate your guts. Hope the bad things in life all happen to you and no one else but you.
I wasn't expecting this much saltiness from you guys tonight, but dare I start with AJ about his initial thoughts of a 4-3 shootout loss to the Ottawa Senators?
Well, we obviously need to take this kind of like in segments. We can discuss the Stalock flub, we can discuss the Burns brain farts, we can discuss the penalty shot and the shootout, but overall, the Sharks, for the most part, dominated this game. Almost doubled them up on the shot clock, spent a lot of time in their zone. I'm honestly stunned that they didn't walk out of there with a regulation win tonight. But then again, you know,
that's so Sharks.
Curse of the heritage jersey. But yeah, I feel like they should have walked out of there with the win tonight. I love the way the third and fourth lines just keep on having the best shots and contributing. If anything, I'm kind of disappointed in the top two lines, especially the Marlowe line right now.
Okay. Ian?
Okay, it's me. I'm finally here. Yeah, I mean, look, the way I see it, the Sharks snatched defeat out of the jaws of victory tonight. I don't think there's any other way to sum it up. They had this game in hand, and they kind of let it go. It was their own mistakes that really got them this game, and it doesn't matter if it's one mistake or two mistakes. It was just their own mistakes. This game, maybe it's 3-1.
Absolutely. For me, it's sorry, just a quick interject.
All right.
This wasn't
Chris?
this wasn't a case of the Ottawa winning. It was the Sharks handed them the loss.
I agree with the sentiments already there. I mean, what can you say? Like, they went 0-for-2 on the power play. Their goalie was 91%. Our goalie was 82%. The only big mistakes made in the game were both Sharks players. That's what happens. Like, you outplay them that badly, and just a few little things, that's the difference in the game. Is Puck Guy frozen?
All right. I'm already experiencing AOL issues. It's pissing me the fuck off. So let's go through step by step. Let's go through the Stalock bringing that number 32 legacy. He pulled an Urbe tonight on the first goal. Ian, I'll go with you first.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bad goal, obviously. It wasn't a smart thing. Like, you're not going to get tripped every time you leave the net. But, I mean, it would be bad for not to mention that whole play becomes possible because of a bad pinch from the DeMello-Dillon pair, which kind of led to that whole play. But, I mean, yeah, absolutely, Stalock can't be that aggressive. It burns him over and over and over again. I don't understand why he keeps going to the well on it. I don't remember any time that he's ever, successfully really gone out of the net without either getting injured or just, goal scored on him.
AJ?
What was the question?
Stalock pulling in an Urbe.
Oh, stay like Perling in it, dude. He gambled. He lost. We this is not the first time this has ever happened in NHL history. He went for the move. He mistimed it. That's going to happen to the best goalies. So he gambled. He lost. It happens to the best of us. And maybe the next time he does it, he hits it, and it's a great play. So I mean, not trying to defend it, but we've all gambled. We've all won, and we've all gambled, and we've all lost. So he gambled at the wrong time.
See, not to start the 49ers analogies early, but that's like Jed saying he gambled on Tom Sula and didn't make it. I'm sorry. That was a terrible idea. Okay, if you're going to do it,
that's a play
you
versus
better
the guy who
commit to
runs
that.
a team.
I'm just saying, like, you're talking about the difference here between making a bad move and getting burned and taking a gamble and not having it work out. In Salock's case, he didn't commit to that. Like, he was half-heartedly going at that. Well, I mean, at the end he was going all for it, but like you either gotta make that move or you gotta not make that move.
That I'll give you. He reacted too late.
Using your analogy, AJ, I think that Stalock needs to go to Gamblers Anonymous.
yeah, really. Like you can't make like if you're gonna make that gamble, you have to be in that 100%. I remember commenting the other night. I don't remember which goalie it was. It might have been the Oilers goalie. I remember coming out and making a really bold move to throw the puck away against one of our guys who had a clear break on it. And I said, that's the kind of move, if you're going to make that move, you better be all in. You cannot hesitate for a second. And Stalock was not all in, and he got burned.
No, I agree with you guys on this. I'm just saying, we've seen better goalies make brain farts just as big. That's all.
No, that's true. The problem is Stalock seems to make them like once a game, whereas other goalies that are better, yeah, they get burned on a goal like that every time. But there's more there's more times where they come out and they make the save. Whereas I find that Stalock just never these gambles never pay off for him. Like someone needs to lock away the deed to his house and send him to Gamblers Anonymous because he doesn't know when not to double down.
And last game, same thing happened, and he got burned.
Wouldn't it be nice if Dell or Grosnick were a better option at this point?
Well, that's the certain question that we will be asking the next month and a half or so. If Jones were to go down and you were to move Stalock, are Dell or
I'm sorry, who the hell's taking Stalock at this point?
Well, I'm just throwing it out there. Are you confident in Dell or Grosnick leading you away to perhaps a playoff race?
No, because one, Dell does not have any kind of NHL experience
to
speak of, and two, Grosnick got pulled this afternoon after letting in 3 goals. So not exactly a vote of confidence right there in either one. I hate to say it, but right now we're stuck with Stalock as our backup at the moment.
Well, it's a critical year because, like we know,
if they'd only held on to Grice.
Yes.
We'll make this very clear. Stalock is a UFA at the end of the year. Grosnick has a one-way deal starting next season, so there'll be a decision made.
The decision's probably
as
already
soon as
been
month.
made.
Well, they could always move Stalock, I would think, right? Grosnick.
I mean, you're right. I mean, they could move Grosnick. I don't know who would take Grosnick. I mean, he's got limited games. I think if Jones is going to be like, I just think that lots of, Jones is, the more he plays, the more he's going to be able to fill out a season, and, maybe you don't need, a backup if you can get Jones up to whatever, stupid amount of games that the Sharks seem to like to give their starting goaltenders.
All right. Well, speaking of goaltending and goalie issues, let's talk about the penalty shot. Not to jump ahead in the game, but
yes, let's.
Because it started off, and we'll go back to it. Burns' bad move, but did you guys think he stopped, or as I should put it, kept the puck moving forward towards the goaltender?
No. By the letter of the rule, 24.2 procedure, the puck must be kept in motion towards the opponent's goal line. It stopped. Not only did it stop, even if it was for a split second, it stopped. It went backwards for a sec. So no, that to me that was pretty clear. But I've got my teal tinted glasses on, so what do I know? But you look at even people that aren't Sharks fans were saying the exact same thing.
I will echo AJ's last point there. I saw a number of national people that stay up late enough to watch this game commenting the same thing, saying, what the heck? That's not the right call. And it's easier to say when you see it in slow motion, but
Right.
you can pretty clearly see...
Which they got to do.
Stopped the puck. He stopped the puck. He pulled it back slightly, but it was a very clear stop. It wasn't just, juggling the puck. He actually stopped it, held it for a very small split second, and pulled it back. To me, that should be enough to say, yeah, that's enough. But I mean, at that point, though, they had to take away how many of Patrick Kane's shootout goals?
Well, that's true. We have a tweet about this from Sharks Prospects. Hey, at NHL, who is the person in charge of video review, and how does anyone get that call wrong? And I believe of course, we all heard about the War Room in Toronto, but isn't Colin Campbell part of that process as well?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought it was close enough that I wasn't surprised that the goal was allowed. I don't want to say I'm on the opposite side of the fence because I thought that there was definitely grounds to call it back. I just feel it's close enough that it's a call that like almost never gets made. So I'm not shocked that it gets made. And at the same time too, I mean, you can, we can talk about the bad call, but if Burns doesn't trip somebody in the defensive zone on the power play, and if Stalock makes a save, I mean, this whole conversation, it's all irrelevant at that point. So I didn't think Stalock looked overly great on the shootout shot. I mean, I understand it's one-on-one, so that's difficult, and I probably don't make that save either. But I don't make $1 million a year.
That's the other thing on both the penalty shot and the shootout shot that went in. Both of those, he dips his shoulder on the blocker side. I mean, he goes down very early and dips that shoulder, and both times it goes right over there. And to me, I don't know. I put a lot of the blame for this on Stalock. Not all, but a lot of it between that big flub and just both those times is not covering the net adequately.
To which I will lead to Brent Burns.
Mm-hmm.
The Burns tooketh away tonight, but he did not giveth. He usually does both, but
that's true.
Well, he had a sweet pass on what was it? I think it was the hurdle tip in on the very first goal.
Mm-hmm.
But that was immediately following a flub that he made. So just like Chris said, he'll fuck up and then he'll have a redemption. And tonight he had a fuck up, a redemption, and then another fuck up that he didn't redeem. So.
Yeah, that's one of the things about Burnsy is that while he's offensively gifted, his defense is shaky at best. We are going to get into the battle because it's not going to change anything. So, but let's talk about the positive because I thought the Sharks played a pretty good game tonight. I thought they played a strong game. Like AJ touched up on it, the third and fourth lines look pretty good. And let's be honest here, that Donskoy move to Nieto, Long Beach native.
Excuse me, hold on.
Yes, the playing the role of Eric Erlandy and saying roles will be myself with Long Beach native. All right, but I mean that was a sick play, guys.
Yeah, no, that was some of the best finish I've ever seen Nieto have. But Donskoy with the move between his skates, that was just downright sick, and they had a pretty good chance right after that too. So that was
Mhm.
really good to see that line. I mean, that line was a makeshift of the third and fourth lines starting the game because as usual, Mike Brown was on the bench the entire fourth period, or sorry, third period. Excuse
Third
me.
and
This is
Yeah.
not bad. I was watching the Warriors the other day. I'm sorry, but yes, that was a nice line. I'd love to see those guys united again next game, hopefully.
And you brought it up again. Brown getting with a whopping 5 minutes, which I believe is a 27-second increase from his last game. We keep going back to that as well. That why are the Sharks continuing to ice a guy who is getting 5 minutes or less per game? We saw a game or two ago where he got a double minor. It was almost the same amount of time in the box that he spent on the ice. Why, when you have Goodrow doing well enough down there that you could probably put him out for 10 minutes easy, or we kind of covered this last time. He's just keeping the bench warm for Torres to return, I suppose. But come on, man. Like,
Next
what?
slowest ice time was Melker Karlsson with 10:25.
Exactly.
As always,
Okay.
the next slowest guy is double the ice time. And I keep hearing that they put him in there for a reason, but they can't even trust him to play any real significant minutes. I don't get it.
How much
And
did the bottom
he
pair
has-
play tonight?
I feel like Brown has looked better recently, and he has been contributing at least more. I don't know that that's saying a whole lot, but hey, just for fuck's sakes, man. How do you when you've got Goodrow down there, you have options. And the other thing too, is Smith still injured? What the hell is going on with Ben Smith at this point? Are we just gonna waive him?
Yeah, pretty much you're going to probably dish him at the deadline for nothing.
Figures.
If that, it
If I
seems
had to
like
guess.
he's yet another in the long line of Daniel Winnick and
Mhm.
TJ Galliardi. What's that guy who's on the Rangers now?
I forget. Does he wear 22? I can't remember.
I forget his name, but he's actually been better this season. But yeah, long line of guys who have acquired that have just gone nowhere and gotten scratched perpetually until they just fade away or get traded or whatever. It's very frustrating. But Eric was talking about the positive. So the Sharks were down 2-0 tonight at one point. So let's keep this in perspective a little bit. I think some credit is due. They came back from a 2-0 deficit. They probably should have won this game. And this is, the sixth straight game they've gotten a point in. So there's definitely some positives here, even in the loss.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I mean, the Sharks. This should have been the Sharks' game to win. It's like I said at the top of the show. You snatched defeat out of the jaws of victory. They played a good game. They played good enough to win. They outshot Ottawa. I mean, the pressure. Craig Anderson had to make a hell of a lot more saves than Alex Stalock did. And they played a good game. And it just tonight. Sometimes you play a good game and you just you still end up on the wrong end of it. And that's unfortunately what happened tonight.
Well, a good thing I think we also need to take into account, which actually Baker had pointed out at one point, was the fact that I think he said something along the lines of 35% of the remaining schedule is against like 3 teams that are in our division. I mean, you look at it. We know we haven't faced Vancouver yet,
Right.
Have we played a game against Arizona this season?
First one's coming up, I think, this week.
So there you go. So those are going to be huge games for the Sharks. I mean, Arizona. I mean, 4 against Arizona, 4 against Vancouver. There's a lot of points to be had right there. If they can, take care of the division. You've got two teams in the next 3 games. Arizona, then of course Mini, but then LA on Sunday. Both Arizona and LA. Those are going to be big games. And Jones, I'm assuming, is going to start against Arizona. Now, we have a back-to-back this weekend, Minnesota and LA. Obviously, you want to have Jones out there versus LA. Would any of you guys give Stalock a shot against Minnesota?
I mean,
just take away the brain fart that he had tonight.
I would say yes, because we can't wear Jones out. Like, just realistically, if they have any aspirations to do anything in the postseason, and they have a shot because this division's so bad, they cannot wear Jones out. So yes, I would give Saylock that chance, but I hope DeBoer has screamed at him like, you do not do this dumb shit. 'Cause that's 2 games in a row. Last game he got bailed out. This game he did not get bailed out by them saying he stopped the puck.
Right.
Like, both times he deserved to get scored on. Only one he did. But yeah, you can't do that.
Essentially, it looks like how we were saying there is no key for the Staylock the last couple of seasons. Well, it looks like the key has been found, and it's been duplicated by 29 other people.
That was just a mic drop right there.
Just to let you know, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but at NHL on NBC Sports just tweeted out a web page with the preface being, should Zach Smith's penalty shot goal have counted? And there's just a laundry list of tweets going back and forth on it. So just one more thing to look at. It's just a couple that I'll read off here. It says, if a cop is watching, Smith still rolled through that stop sign, has to be a good goal. And another one saying, the hockey fan in me says that goal should count, but based on the way the rule is written, I'm not so sure. Although the weird thing, any Sharks fan who thinks that should have been reversed may want to consider Pavelski's shootout history. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yep. That's almost Pavelski's move. Although he stopped more, kind of like how Nils Ekman had his shootouts from years ago, where he just put a complete stop and then shot it.
Pavelski doesn't do that hard of a stop, though. Like, Pavelski's stop is more of a kind of hit the brakes, like tap the brakes.
Tap the brakes and slow down.
Yeah, versus a slam the brakes. Something from Twitter real quick, Generation X-Wing, with, I'm sure you guys have already seen all of the AJ conspiracy theories here, It was the Reebok Edge jersey.
Well, speaking of jerseys, that means 5-1, as AJ's put his meme up, for special edition Sharks jerseys. For the record, the Sharks have one more game in their Heritage jersey. That's February 11th, and then they will be gone. It's pretty bad. I mean, I'm guessing they are kind of like honoring the past a little too far.
Black Armor 1-0 though.
Black Armor 2-0.
2-0. Yeah. I was gonna say they just won on Thursday.
2-0. You're right. Yeah, 2-0. So that just means they should wear Black Armor all the time, right, guys?
Yeah.
All right. So before my internet connection goes on, by the way, if you like my little lower third here, there you go. So no need to tweet, no need to break out your AOL jokes or memes.
It'll happen, and it'll happen anyways.
Yeah.
And also,
just encouraging them, man.
Yeah, you're only encouraging, but also of note, if you like what we do here, subscribe below.
Yes,
true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, now let's take a look at the standings. With the point that the Sharks get, they sit at 49. They're technically tied with Arizona, although Arizona has one more row. Vancouver at 48, Anaheim at 45, and the Alberta teams are at 43. Another note I like to mention is that Colorado's win vaulted them over Nashville to take over the second wildcard spot, and they sit at 49. So the Sharks technically can hold
Sharks
down.
are in second.
The Sharks are in second?
Yeah, because wins is the first tiebreaker, then Rowe is next.
No, Rose is first.
I thought wins was first. I'm pretty sure NHL.com has them in, or we probably have games in hand is probably what it is.
Yeah,
we have games in hand.
There you go.
We have games in hand.
Either way, though, looking at that, at those standings, just goes to show how big those games against Arizona and Vancouver will be once we start playing them, if at all. And which is something that I mentioned earlier. When was the last time you saw a team go, I think, 14 months straight without seeing a team. I mean, last season we were done with the Canucks by like Thanksgiving, and now we don't see them until almost the beginning of March. I mean,
Did not see them in the entire 2015 calendar year.
Exactly. When was the last time you've ever seen that? It just goes to show you how ridiculous. Yeah, a division rival, but it goes to show you how ridiculous the NHL schedules are with some of this shit.
Hashtag Sharks scheduling quirks.
And I will mention this too. I believe, I forget when, sometime in February, the Sharks have like Tampa, Florida, and Carolina, and then they're done with the Eastern Conference. And I think outside those final 2 games, like I think it's like Nashville, Minnesota, that they have in like late March, early April, they are pretty much on the West Coast, or they're on the Pacific time zone for all but 3 times.
That's good, though.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I'll take that.
At least there's that. And just for you, for your edification, Ian and Eric, Mike Lee on the Google chat.
Yeah, I saw that.
Let's go Sharks! Hi, bud.
Let's go Sharks.com. Formerly the Feeder. Yeah, so I think we're kind of we've kind of said everything we needed to say about tonight. Kind of to sum it all up, as Ian put it, just the Sharks stole defeat from the hands of victory for some godforsaken reason. A couple questionable plays by a couple questionable people.
And it's not all bad. Like, I mean, we're being grumpy curmudgeons here, especially Ian. But
I've actually been good this show.
In the grand scheme of things, like say the Sharks are 5-0-1 in the last 6.
Yeah,
they're back in a position to compete again, and they're getting healthy. So overall, in the big picture, their prospects are looking up.
And you look at it 5-0-1, 11 out of 12 points. Of course, you would take that. You're inching, closer and closer. Now, granted, you would hope that you would gain some ground. You've only gained. They're only up by 1 point, down in 4th place to Vancouver. Thankfully, I mean, you're still kind of solidified with a wild card spot too. Let's not forget that, guys. If they were to fall out. I mean, they seem like they're finally getting it together. They seem like they're getting some chemistry. That Donskoy, Tierney, Nieto line was just oozing with crispness that I wish we'd see more. The question now being, and I'm not getting a chance opening up any more internet pages, so I'll ask you, how much time did Winkles have tonight? I know Brown, we usually just have nothing. But even Brown had, like I mentioned on Twitter tonight, even Brown had good chances in there. He was getting shots on goal, and it caused Anderson to cover up the puck for a face-off deep in there. He took another shot that was deflected, then got another face-off for the top line to get in there. So
Wingles had 12.5.
Yeah, Wingles had 12.5. He had 18 shifts. Brown had 1 or 2 good plays, but I mean, Wingles, he hasn't been very good offensively, but he hasn't been a liability. That's the main thing. And right now, this team needs to avoid defensive liabilities. I think Jamie Baker was saying they're like 5th or something in goals for, and they're like 20-something in goals allowed. So really, right now, they just need to avoid having liabilities, and that's why I'm not being as hard on Wingles, is because I think he has not done a lot offensively, but right now, I will take that because that's not their problem.
Yeah, I'd concur with that. I think Wingles, I mean, you'd hope to get more out of Wingles, especially for, what is he, $1.5 million? I think you'd like to see more goals from him. I think he should be, this should be a guy that should be able to put up at least 20 goals a season, and I don't think he's going to get there this year, obviously, unless he really heats up. But he also does a lot of things, away from the puck too, that is really good. Kind of like Nieto. Nieto, for all the stuff that we give him crap for, all speed, no hands. Although he had hands tonight, this is another guy who's also good possession player, solid defensively. Nieto, you're not usually complaining that Nieto turned over the puck and it went into the Sharks' net.
The other thing that we, I don't think that we touched on it, but another drum that I love to be that special teams drum Ofer on. You had one penalty to kill. You had one job. You didn't kill that penalty. You had 2 power play opportunities. Couldn't bury either. And the one, of course, especially telling, standing around on a almost complete 4-on-3 power play in OT. To me, that's just inexcusable.
Well, not only that,
K was a
you're
little
probably-
more bad bounce there off Burns' stick. I mean, that was when it's one total, it's harder to discern how well the penalty kill is playing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. One thing I gathered here also of note for the last 6 games, including tonight. So we have 10 goals in the last 6 games from Burns, Ward, Pavelski, Couture, and Thornton, but we also have 10 goals from Hurdle, Donskoy, Carlson, Nieto, and Tierney, and then 3 more from Vlasic. I don't know if I can really put him in the usual suspects or put him in the young guys, but that is good though. That's we're getting almost half our scoring in the last several games from the guys who've been needing to step up. I mean, especially Hurdle's been the main guy that everyone's been on, and he's been on fire with 4 goals. But Nieto with 2, Tierney with 2, and then Donskoy and Carlson each. So it's good to see, those guys are actually starting to contribute and add in to the offense here.
Yeah, you're definitely getting that secondary scoring, and Hurdle. I don't mean to boost my ego or anything, but like I told you guys before, get Hurdle back onto the top line and watch him flourish. Sure enough, he's flourished. I mean, that play as well. Burns, hit it to Hurdle. Hurdle threw it to Jumbo. Jumbo threw it. Perfect pass. I mean, it was a great, perfect play. But Hurdle, 7 goals, 7 points in his last 6 games. I think he's got 4 goals and 3 assists since coming onto the top line. I mean, he's fitting there, and it's nice.
I'm hoping this jump starts him so we can maybe drop him a line or 2 and he can start really getting it going. Because confidence is a big thing. Maybe he kind of needed to get jump started a bit. And also, for how much trouble we've given him over his point totals this season, he has been a pretty good player in almost every other regard. Let's not get twisted here. He hasn't had the scoring, but he's been good in the face-off. He's been responsible defensively. He's driven play. So there's a lot more things to it.
And he was basically saddled with guys that just couldn't put the puck in the net too. I mean, when he was playing center, I mean, it's like you said, you did everything you want. He didn't have anyone around him that could finish. And playing center, you're obviously trying to look for the pass more than the shot. And when most of the time he's been saddled with either on the 4th line with garbage or on the 3rd line with guys that have just been cold.
Are we talking about Hurdle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry.
Do you have something to add to this conversation, AJ?
No, I just jumped in late, but it sounds like from what I heard, I pretty much agree with you. Is that you give him talent and he's going to make stuff happen. I still love him at playing in the wing position because right now the Sharks have an embarrassment of riches at center. So if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly. No, let him play there for a little while, get his game going, maybe then see if he'd be able to play with, I don't know, depending on who's doing well at the time. I don't really want to break up Donskoy, Tierney, and Nieto right now because it seems like they were clicking really well tonight. I hope that's our 3rd line.
Was it Nieto or Wingles?
No, it was Nieto. Nieto was the finish on that. It wasn't the original line. It wasn't the starting line, but that was the line that was playing in the 3rd period. Man, yeah. I'm stuck in basketball mode right now.
Just I saw at one point it seemed for a while it was Marlowe, Ward, and Nieto. That's why I was just thrown off. But hey, let me ask you one question. Speaking of that,
to the 2nd line.
Let me ask you one question, Chris. If you could do me a favor, just let me know. Where is Matt Nieto from?
Shit, dude, you did not say this would be trivia night. Fuck me.
I'm waiting.
Is it so Swami says, I see an elongated beach.
Oh, that's close enough for me.
Perhaps you could call it very lengthy. A lengthy beach.
Close enough.
Long Beach.
Drink. All right. Well, Okay.
Did we lose? I think we lost Puck Guy.
Of course
That's
we
all right.
did. Of course.
Hashtag AOLOL.
Oh well.
Yeah. So, that's kind of where the things kind of rolled with today's game. So we heard Rafi Torres had a maintenance day today. Do we have any predictions of when we might see him? I'm assuming he's probably not going to make the trip to Arizona. Do you think we see him at all this weekend, particularly versus LA?
I don't think so. I think his conditioning. I think he was sent down for specifically a 14-day conditioning stint. So I mean, I guess they could pull him up if they really wanted to. But
You're going with after the break.
My money's with he's staying down.
Until after the...
From what I've seen of Rafi so far on the Barracuda, it's nothing. I mean, he looks like a guy who hasn't played, very many games in 2 years. I don't think he looks terrible. But he's not good, and I don't think he's NHL good at this point. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, Jared Allred of Fear the Fin, he was tweeting about it. I guess he went to the game. He said Torres didn't look spectacular, but he didn't look like he was completely out of place there, which is that would be my main worry. Is like, does he look like he does not belong out there? Like he's just not up to speed, because if he can't handle AHL speed, there's no way he's handling NHL speed. So sounded like he didn't look out of place, which is a step forward.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely showing his rust, but could he get back up to NHL speed? I think so.
Yeah, it's okay to be rusty. You just can't be out of speed, at the wrong speed. If you're not playing at their speed, that's a deal breaker. You can be rusty, but you can't not be able to keep pace.
Yeah. So it'll be after the break at the soonest.
That'd be my thoughts.
Cool. Well, coming up on Thursday, Arizona. What do we think, boys? Anything interesting? Anything going around there? Oh, wait.
It's the what would you call coyotes out in the sand? What
I was gonna
AJ.
Actually, for me, the thing for me when it comes to this game is I was like really, really nervous about this Arizona game coming up because they had the Pacific Division captain from the All-Star game on their roster, but then they got rid of him, so now I feel completely comfortable with this game.
Suckers, they traded him away for like nothing. I mean, what the heck, man?
All right.
But if you took coyotes out in the sand where there's a lot of heat and not much moisture,
I'd go with sand.
What would you possibly call those?
I would call those the sand puppies.
Sand puppies. That's an interesting thing. Yeah, Ian, what do you think? What would you call if you were to nickname such a team?
Peyote canines.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Eric.
I think I would call them the desert dogs.
Drink.
Oh hell. Is Eric DJing or something? What the hell's going on? Holding the earpiece.
It's called. Okay, here's what's going on. Besides my shitty connection that I'm loving right now, I tried to set up another computer to see if I can work off of that. But then, just as we were doing this, something stunk more than the Sharks lost tonight. Somewhere a skunk just sprayed underneath my house.
Nice.
It's probably like a Comcast representative that was there to fix things.
The AOL representative farted under his house.
Well, either that or it's just like Amy just showed up with some spray saying, "I'm tired of this fucking podcast, man. Knock it the hell off."
Poor Mrs. Puckguy, or future Mrs. Puckguy.
Let's read off a couple that we saw on the chat. I like it. The sand schnauzers. It's not bad. The salty dogs. The warm climate canines. I like that one. The Sahara puppies. That was pretty good.
It sounds like a nice girl team.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rocket says she's smoking a bong in his crawl space to Puck Guy. I mean, we do double entendres in this show, and that's as double entendre-y as it gets.
You know what? great thing just brought up by Miss Rocket herself, and it's too bad she's not on because she'd be able to give us a first-hand account. But apparently, somebody decided, hey, it's a good idea to block out probably, I want to say, 24 seats in the upper
They
deck
weren't using them.
to set up a live band. I wish if Rocket could jump on and give us like a quick synopsis, that would be awesome. But I'm interested to know like how was the sound, because we've heard people constantly complain either it's too loud or it's not loud enough, or the system sounds like it's tuned for EDM, and when they play other stuff it sounds like garbage, or vice versa. It's just a cluster. But I'd be interested to know how that was going on, and were they playing during did they ever jump on? I'm assuming that they was there for commercials and for intermissions. Did they ever jump on at any other point? If Chris,
They should have used it. They should use that band more, because for the second game now I've heard them playing Limp Bizkit. I mean, are we scraping the bottom of the barrel that much?
Well,
Someone
what's
send Rocket
funny
the
is
link.
Really though?
I got
really,
it.
though?
I'm on it.
Yeah, let's get our live correspondent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get
all right.
Rocket on, and I'm going to bounce out because the sale connection is pissing me the fuck off. I'm going to say this, they are using that hashtag Tank Tunes, and it sounds like they aren't even reading that because they're going with the same thing.
Oh, bullshit. No. It has nothing to do with their warm-up shit. That's all on the Sharks.
That's all themselves, but I'm saying
But
during
listening,
the game.
during the game, I've definitely heard a lot of different stuff that I haven't heard in a while. I've never heard them play like Detroit Rock City before. Like, that blew me away. There's definitely been some older rock songs where I can hear them on TV and I'm going, holy shit, this sounds like a Dallas Stars game, because there's a lot of like 70s and 80s rock happening. So
let's go Sharks in the chat. It said if they had any sense of humor, they'd call the band Lipstick on a Pig.
Pew pew. All right, I'm gonna say this really quick so that way I'm not a bugger on coming on and off. March 5th is the Sharks tweet up. Yes, Gen X, that's where you would get your fancy little buttons. So March 5th against Vancouver. On April 9th is Fan Appreciation Night. What better way to make sure that we get a teal out going for a playoff run than having a reveal the teal night, which is something the Sharks used to do their first 3 years, where we will encourage everyone to wear teal. No black armor, no orange Barracuda jersey shit. We want everybody in teal, whether it's
but teal doesn't show up on
Shut the
TV.
fuck up, AJ. Shut the fuck up.
It shows up on television. It most certainly does.
Shut your ass, AJ.
Blow me.
And with that, I will leave you and introduce you to the lovely and talented Rocket Backhander.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
So what was the live band all about? When did they play? What did they play? How did it sound? And
All right.
can Sharky actually deliver a good guitar solo?
Yeah, Sharky comes in handy for props because he moves, which is a lot of fun. I got there just as doors opened, as I am prone to do. Got a couple of drinks, found my seat, and I could hear them.
Found a seat that wasn't occupied.
No, actually, the seat that I got was section 121, row 21, and it was a pretty good seat. It was right in the end, but it was still high up enough to where you could see everything. So I sat there the whole time. It was great. But yeah, there was definitely more than one or two empty seats. They were way, way, way up at the top, at the very, very top where 222 is. So they were directly above me in the rafters. I couldn't see them, but they started playing probably no less than 10 minutes after the doors opened. So they were just playing while people were finding their seats. And it took people a couple of songs to realize that it was a live band. And when I realized...
Were they on the Jumbotron at that point or no?
Where are the white women at?
They were...
What the hell?
What the fuck was that? I mean, I support that statement, but damn.
That's my phone.
Oh my God, that is brilliant! I swear to God, I did not just text you. That was weird.
No, that's my
Yeah,
phone.
that's AJ's tone, right? Whenever he texts you.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, no, it's telling me I got messages from things. Yeah, no, it's a clip from Blazing Saddles. Just so you guys know,
oh no,
it's not.
No, we're aware. It's just
Okay.
it's funny.
let's be honest.
Yeah,
That
no,
was
I think it's absolutely hysterical, and it's got like cinematic context too, which makes it equally funny.
I had
So
no
when
idea Kevin Kurz had your number.
he does, give it to
Oh
him.
snap!
It wasn't me, Kevin. You should call me, okay?
All right, but anyway.
Anyways,
getting back
okay.
to
So
it.
the
Okay.
band was playing while everybody was finding their seats. Yeah, they were showing them on the jumbotron a little bit. But then they would go back to their regular rotation of
The
this is
warm-up
so and
music.
so's birthday, or no, it was no. The band played on solid the whole time, but they weren't on the jumbotron the whole time. They just did the same rotation of jumbotron advertisements and the Sharks calendar and so on.
The tweets.
Yeah, all of that stuff. They kept all of that there, but the band continued to play. They played classic
play during
rock
warm-up?
staples. No, they did not. They did not. They played up until warm-up. When warm-up started, they went into their catalog of standard EDM classic hits, and it was a medley. Basically, there was not one song that finished all the way through, so it was just sort of this medley of
DJ mix.
basically. It was like listening to whatever the Finnish pop top 10 is in a condensed, like 7 minutes.
So did
So now-
Donskoy pick the playlist then?
Maybe. That's cool. Maybe
if
he
that
needs
keeps them
to.
playing like that, then I'm for it.
Yeah, all the Finnish
So-
pop we could possibly do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So once the game got underway, what was the schedule for the band after that? Was it just timeouts or intermissions or what?
Whenever there was a break, whenever basically the ice crew came out to clear the ice, then they would play. They did play once or twice during after there was a whistle, and just filler music, just
A little
riffs
back-
and stuff.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
I saw
background.
a little Tom Sawyer in there, I guess.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
They did really solid classic rock covers. Like
Well-
Journey and Kiss. And,
Was it like the Greg Kinn Band or something?
no, it was called
Yo, do you know
the top
Top
tier
Shelf-
band.
Top Shelf
Top
band?
Shelf band. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's because they were way the hell up in the rafters. I'm serious. They had.
Oh,
They
we
had-
saw all the tweets. Yeah, they were way up
Yeah.
there on the party deck on the penthouse level. Yeah, no, we saw it.
Fusion 86 nominates Timmy and the Lords of the Underworld to play.
Well, it was.
Yeah.
I mean, but it sounded good.
Yeah, and even the goal song sounded good. The hey hey heys were very pronounced. They had all of I know. They had all the volumes up right. Everybody was clapping and hey hey heying at the right time. So
They
Yeah,
actually
good.
dialed in the sound system?
yeah.
Made the
Well,
band actually
you
made them
need-
like do a sound check on the system.
I
was
think
gonna
that may
say-
have had something to do with it.
Yeah, you got to dial that shit in when you have a live band. But I would expect them to play essentially mostly classic rock when you're, when that's your flagship radio station, what they're built on.
Yeah.
Well,
But
and I imagine a good portion of the
solid
audience too.
ensemble though. Like as musician wise, they were really, really good. I appreciated them. It got real quiet in between songs and I yelled out really loud, "You guys are good!" And everyone was like, "Yeah!" So
And knowing how your voice carries, apparently, according to AJ, they probably heard it.
no, it carries.
Fucking, you better believe it. Okay, so it is that is the time of the show where we have to do our one question from Slessy Jake segment. So let's see which one I feel like answering today.
We need like a drum roll here for this. Where's that?
Nobody cares. We don't have to turn on Google effects. So the question is, what was the best Sharks team assembled? I got to tell you, Jake, I'm disappointed in you. We've answered this question already. We talked about the we talked about the 2014. We've talked about the 2019. We have discussed this come up with another goddamn question, goddamn.
And there's your answer right there. Okay, with that out of the way, final thoughts on tonight's game. Well, let's let Rocky go first, since she hasn't had a chance to talk about the actual game.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I went to the Barracuda game, so I have been at SAP Center, SAP Center, downtown
Center,
San
well,
Jose.
So you had like breakfast there and shit, right?
Negative. I had breakfast at my home. But I did have lunch and dinner at the SAP Center. That's cool.
Was it a liquid lunch and liquid dinner?
No, I had 2 Sharkaritas, a hot dog, and some French fries.
Part of this complete breakfast.
Lunch and dinner. Breakfast was half a bottle of champagne. So.
Well, there you go.
Sounds
My
like
day
a great
off.
day.
Leave me alone. This game was tough and disappointing, but Brent Burns is as much of a detraction as he is an addition to this team. When Matt Nieto is contributing, it makes a huge difference to the energy of the game. And how in the hell does Mike Brown keep getting such weird looks? Like Brownie, out of all people, gets these like genius chances out of nowhere. It's just very strange how that happens.
He's got to make the most.
Because no one takes him seriously enough.
That's almost exactly word for word what I said to Kyle at the game, was that I think it's because everybody just sort of ignores him because they underestimate him.
No one's made more out of 5 minutes than that guy.
Unbelievable. Takeaway from the game, Alex Stalock, we know what we're going to get with him. Yeah.
Yep. AJ, what are your final thoughts?
Just to echo kind of what we discussed earlier, it's just the Sharks were the better team. Not the better team on the ice doesn't always win. And tonight, the Sharks, it wasn't that Ottawa, took the win. It's that the Sharks just handed Ottawa the win tonight. I don't know why. It wasn't the case of Ottawa winning. Just the Sharks just said, "Here you go." And I still go back to that missed opportunity in overtime when you had the 4-on-3 and guys are standing around. So got to shore it up and be better against the
Coyotes on Thursday.
Yeah, I thought there was another term for those guys, but I can't remember. But yeah.
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, what about you, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, if the Sharks can play like their play over the last 5-6 games is actually I'd even go 7 games because I didn't think they played terrible against Detroit when they lost either. If they can keep this kind of play going without obviously some of the horrific gaffes, or at least just cover for some of the horrific gaffes, they should be able to do some damage to the Coyotes, I think. But I'm looking forward to seeing Coyotes. I haven't really watched them play this year, and they've got some young kids there that Max Domi I've seen a ton, but it's going to be good to watch them and see how they're doing on the NHL level. And these games are important. These are the ones that matter. These games are the difference between playoffs and not playoffs, in my opinion. If they don't take care of these divisional games, they're out. If they do, they're in. It's probably that simple.
Yep. And yeah, you raised a good point there about the Detroit game right before the streak started. I remember a couple of us did say they played pretty well in that game, and that was kind of a sign of their game was getting healthy and their game was getting better. And so, I mean, at the end of the streak, their game is still looking good, so it's not like a bad sign like they're about to go into a dive. I mean,
you hear that, Landy? You hear that?
Yeah. Yeah, Landy. Hashtag subtweet. AJ, did you have something before we dropped off here?
Well, we are we're heading down to the desert for Thursday, which just brings up what we need to bring up now that we're just a little over a week before the All-Star game. Does John Scott play in the All-Star game?
I say no.
I say no.
Oh, I'm going to go on a rant about this in the other podcast. So I'm sure you guys have already killed this to death.
Oh, yeah, we have.
A little bit. Okay, maybe if John Scott does not play in the All-Star game, and I'll put this to you, Ian, first, since you're definitely opinionated on it, as am I. Does John Scott make any type of trip to Nashville whatsoever and If so or if not, I guess the second half of the question being, how does the NHL save face on this colossal screw-up?
They can't save face. I don't see their way that they can save face. I think that I think there's a sliver of truth to the business decision aspect of it, because for sure do the Coyotes want to pay John Scott $500,000 to sit in the minors? No, they lose millions of dollars a year. Of course, if they can save a few pennies, they're gonna save a few pennies. But I mean, it just the optics of it are awful, and even if there's a sliver of truth to that, I mean, it seems more like when you hear Mackenzie talking about like the Coyotes and NHL both asking him to sit down and he didn't, it just looks like someone stood up to the machine and the machine rolled over them and they made an example out of him very publicly. So I think that the people who don't like this move, you're not going to change anyone's mind. The people that think that they saved the All-Star game and blah 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 are going to be fine, and they're going to be satisfied, and the people that think that he got hosed are not going to be satisfied. And I don't think that there's any taking anyone's position at this point. Everyone seems to be pretty dug in.
Rocket?
I don't think John Scott is going to the All-Star game. I don't think that there is a way that the NHL is willing to save face on this. It comes down to the movie Fight Club, where he explains about what has to happen in order for a recall to occur. I think it's sort of the same thing. And in the mind of the NHL, that cost has not been achieved with the situation. So for them, they're going to operate business as usual. And I don't think they're going to undertake any heavier public relations in order to kind of soften this whole thing. They're just going to keep rolling forward and expect everyone to forget about it because they're the NHL. What are you going to do?
Chris?
Yeah, I think Rocket hit it on the head. That was a better way of saying it than I was dreaming up. I think the bottom line is the NHL realizes that this is a small portion, very small portion of fans that made this happen, and a very small portion that are upset about this. So really, they don't have to save face when it's less than 5% of their actual money-paying fan base that they're talking about here. It's a very small handful of passionate fans, and the machine will quash them because they don't give a shit. It's about the money, and that's the bottom line. It's kind of a shitty thing to do, and like I'm not a John Scott fan, as everyone knows, but it's kind of what would it hurt to let the guy go? I mean, well, other than money, like I think they should, but you know what? I totally get why they're doing what they're doing. It's just kind of shitty.
Yeah, I get it. I just don't. Yeah, I get it.
It's a meaningless exhibition.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't think that the head brass in the NHL has come to that acceptance yet about how the fans view the All-Star game. That the fans don't view it as, this prestigious, glorious, blah 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 exhibition of skill. It's a bunch of, everybody's just slapping each other on the back, and it's fun. I don't think that the head brass at the NHL sees this and accepts this as, a legitimate way to proceed.
I think they see it, but at the same time, they don't want to tacitly admit that. Because if they do that, I mean, if they don't take it seriously, no fan will take it seriously.
Right.
This is for entertainment. Okay. This is for entertainment. Who would be more entertaining than John Scott at this? And we can put the question out for the next time, but this will be for your homework for the post game after Arizona. Who would you rather have on the fourth line for the Sharks, Mike Brown or John Scott? We'll let you. We'll cover that after Arizona.
That is a hard question. That is almost a slushy Jake type question.
That's a slushy Jake question right there.
Can I answer a staple in my nutsack instead?
Okay. Well, dude, you're just to save that for next time. AJ said save that for next time.
So you better bring a fucking stapler the next show.
Wow. Yeah. Like now you have to do it on air because you just said so.
Yeah, I'm sick next show.
Oh, damn.
Oh, of course you are. Now, of course you are.
I think Andy needs to step up for that one.
And Chester Chivo coming with the tweet of the night. Well, we just saw that the NHL has no problem with things going backwards.
There you go. That is the tweet of the night right there.
And with that,
good note to end on. So with that, Sharks lose to the Senators in the shootout, 4-3. Everyone have a great night. If you like the show here, subscribe below. For AJ Strong, Ian Reed, Puck Guy 14, aka Eric AOL, and Rocket Backhander, I'm Chris JWS. Y'all have a good night. Peace out.